Hello, Internet. It's Thursday. It's SJU. There's Dan.
Hi.
That's Joe. Danielle.
Hello.
Spencer J. Gilbert. Guys, let me ask you, now that we've gotten through the initial firestorm of it, post Superman Gate, how's everybody holding up? You good, Danielle? Let's check in.
Still just tired and confused.
Sure,
and,
sure.
It's been a really hard time for my family, so I thank you for checking in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's important to self-care. Spencer?
Yeah, I'll never forget that 9/12.
Yeah.
That was really a firestorm of news was shot at us out of a cannon, and we just tried our best to keep up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate your DC character pun in there. Dan?
Good? I just went to my desk and buried myself in some old British sci-fi, like I've done every day for the last
months.
18 months.
for most of your life now. Yeah.
Yes, it was it's a tough day, Joe.
I get
nothing
it, man.
to happen.
I get it.
We're absolutely.
JTE, how you doing, man? I'm doing good. Guys, we're doing good. We recovered from Superman. We're going to talk about it a little more today. We're also going to talk about some things the EU did, because we did our homework. It's going to be a fun show. Let's jump back into Henry Cavill's swimming pool, because this is my favorite part of the story.
Is that an option?
Is it? Yeah, you know what? Sure. Henry Cavill posted this amazing video on his Instagram in a response to all this dumb nonsense. I wish we had a dumb nonsense graphic that's been just flying around on Twitter because a source said maybe a thing would happen. Do we have the video? Can we just look at it? Look, I love this.
Krypton lifting team.
Yeah,
right?
there's also music. I can't remember what the song is.
It's the Blue Danube, but by
That's
dogs.
right. That's right.
What is that sticker? Is that a Black Panther sticker?
I think it's a Black Panther sticker.
Did he put that on there?
It's really, you can't tell if it is a Black Panther sticker or if it's like a sticker that's like, your action figure now moves. Like, you can't really get into it that deep.
Well, guys, let's do what only we do on the internet and overanalyze this 15 seconds of video as much as we can. JT, can you just sort of pop that back up on a loop, buddy? We're going to play that for the next hour and a half.
This is your life now, guys.
Roll tape.
So, Spencer, what's the essence here? Like, what's Henry Cavill trying to say?
Well, I think he's trying to say that he's been silenced, and he's losing his voice as Superman, and only he doesn't own the rights to his image, like by holding up that toy with his own likeness on it. So I think he's making a point about college sports and student athletes as well.
I hear that. Dan, what's this lifting team thing all about? You were eagle-eyed and sort of spotted that first. What's that say to you?
It's very difficult to find in that video.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, I don't know if our viewers know this. This is a very deep reference to the lore, but Superman's home planet is called Krypton.
What?
I don't know if you know this. And he's very strong also. One of Superman's powers is strength.
Huh.
So I think it's a reference both to Superman's home planet and the fact that he's very strong.
Yeah.
It's great to see. It's great to see an actor really embrace the depths of the source material like he is here, because there's some very deep cuts.
I think that's really sort of, speaks to his fandom of the character too, and his love for it. Just how much of himself he's really put into Superman. Danielle?
I think that both the black T-shirt and the holding up of a Superman toy that looks like him but is not him is him directly referencing the death and rebirth and reign of the Superman arc. Essentially, he is saying now, remember that the death of Superman came with those black armbands, and that is what the black T-shirt represents.
Absolutely.
This is the death of Superman, who will then be reborn as someone who is not me but looks like me.
Yeah, no. I also noticed, on the TV behind him, a lot of people, when they have that widescreen TV, the wires are still a mess, along the walls. He's done a really good job. I looked at it a little closer this morning. He's done a really good job
cable
of hiding.
management.
Yeah.
And speaking of cable, is there a Superman Cable crossover in the future? I noticed that shirt is it's like one of those ripped apparel shirts. So what other Superman combination T-shirts might Henry Cavill own, Joe?
Oh, definitely Krypton Brewing. Probably something about adopting a dog, and there's Crypto, co-ed naked Superman.
I think he owns one of the Haters Gonna Hate Superman shirts.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
A super pool, a Superman Deadpool one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you meant strictly apparel brands. But
No,
I
like
see
these
where
two,
you're
like
going
a
now.
these two things kind of shirt where it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
maybe a like super lubba dub dub, and he's like got Rick and Morty hair.
Oh,
so-
yeah. No,
or
I
like
see
a
what
Krypton family reunion where it's Medea's family reunion, but just
Exactly.
Kryptonians.
I wish
Exactly.
they did that.
You
Definitely.
can pitch it. You have
Sold.
the end.
A dog's playing poker, but all the dogs have Henry Cavill's mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we really got to the bottom of this, guys. Henry Cavill, we thank you for your layered and nuanced response to this disaster of a story. Speaking of disasters, human garbage fire, TMZ is adding fire to this report by saying there's no real discussion. That's not a controversial statement. What a terrible place. There's no real discussion over the main role because there's no active Superman project currently, which I guess is true.
TMZ, we know who's dead first. They have
You.
sources everywhere, which is
Yeah.
scary.
It is
But
scary.
and
Pretty
if you go to a courthouse or a hospital in Los Angeles, like somebody there is paid off.
Oh, yeah.
Oops, McGee turned down TMZ. That's how.
Wow.
That's how underhanded.
Right now, Billy,
And he
though, is
lives in
tweeting
a
them
garbage
about.
can.
Yeah. He literally lives in a garbage can.
A different famous person's garbage can every night.
For a long time. That's how he paid his dues.
how he
In the old days, that's how you cut your teeth in
That
this
is,
business.
yes.
They're also claiming that Cavill has felt he was underpaid for the role, and that's an issue, as is what some would say it was an underwhelming performance. Which,
That's his fault.
yeah, that's definitely his fault. And also, factual news. Well done, TMZ. Of course, he probably feels like he was underpaid. You played
Everyone
Superman
does,
once, and then the next time you're gonna play Superman, you're gonna up that salary.
Yeah, you
That's-
wonder what the initial deal was if he's like locked into the rookie contract of like, yeah, you're going to be Superman 3 times and it'll go up by $1 million each time or
Yeah.
something like that.
And then you see how much money they did or did not make off of things, and you're like, that
Damn it.
million might not be enough for let's renegotiate. I promise you, like at 12 years old, Daniel Radcliffe was like, if I'm getting in that chamber of secrets, you're.
They actually famously, I think stupidly, did not have them sign for long term. Because I remember there was a whole thing with like the fourth one. They were like, "Is there going to be a new Ron and Hermione? Because they got to renegotiate, and what if they don't do
That's
it?"
amazing. I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure.
They just replaced Hermione with Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yes.
Yeah.
I should also add that yesterday afternoon, Tatiana Siegel, who was the one that originally wrote the Hollywood Reporter story that broke all of this, she said, she followed up, she said, as for who broke up with whom, Warner Brothers was the one who decided to move on from Henry Cavill, which makes me think even more that this is all just public negotiations back and forth.
Oh, it absolutely is. Because meanwhile, Warner Brothers is like, we're still together. We're just working through some things. Guys.
The Rock's wife got involved. It's a mess.
Yeah, it's a
Her
huge,
ex-wife.
huge mess. Long story short, there's still no definitive word on Cavill's future. The main consensus is that whether he stays or goes, there's no active Superman movie in development at the moment, which we knew!
Yes, we knew that. We knew that. That was a fact.
So
that
the-
existed before yesterday morning.
Basically, this whole thing has been burnt after reading. Yeah, basically. We're
What
just
did we learn? Nothing.
Nothing. Not a thing. Not a damn thing. What we did learn a little bit about yesterday, which I think is the more important angle of the Superman news, is what Superman does with his costume while he has Clark Kent's suit on. We asked you guys for some theories and some thoughts on this in the comments, and you delivered. We wanted to jump into a few of those. Nkosi Anathi said, if you've read New 52 Superman, the suit Superman uses is actually nanotechnology like Kryptonian made. The suit is embedded in the Superman S shield.
So, was that Spencer? Who
No,
hated
someone
I
that?
hate.
I don't like the
I
Iron Man
hate.
version.
I
You don't
hate
like that?
nanotechnology. It's like it's dumb magic that you didn't earn. So this one makes me sad. Where are you guys on nanotech?
I'm all about it.
Yeah, you're all about that
I'm all
nanotech
about
life,
nanotechnology.
cryptocurrency and nanotech, son.
Sure. Come up to my veins. Give me all those nanites.
Yep.
Well, that was the Star Trek thing, nanites. They were actually very destructive and almost destroyed the ship. But if used properly, they're very useful.
Responsibly.
Yes.
And in wardrobe, they seem to be.
Yeah.
That's typically, that's my thing about nanotechnology. It's only used in clothing. In these, it's never. It's just fashion wear at this point.
Yeah.
It's like the new.
Tony Stark could repair entire cities with nanotech, but it's all just to put his designer glasses in the back of his helmet.
Just to make him real fancy.
Yeah. Just fancy nanotech. Ian says, according to Superman, the Ultimate Guide to the Man of Steel, which I read recently, Kryptonian biotech, slightly different than nanotech, allows the suit to appear instantly at its wearer's command and to disappear just as quickly.
See, I like that if it's biotech, because that means he's basically Spawn. He's got a living costume
yeah.
of his own
Venom.
flesh.
He's super Venom.
Yeah.
like a super fart in the wind.
Yeah.
I dig this.
Does his suit feel pain separately from him? You know, if it's
Right.
is it its own, like, is it just like a big lichen that forms on his body?
I mean, that
Could
may
I
be
put
the
it on and
new-
be Superman?
That may be the new explanation, but there are canonical references to the fact that it is, in fact, a costume made of clothing.
Yeah, his
Yes.
mom made it.
Yeah, his mom made it from the blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
his mommy made his costume.
Yeah.
What,
No,
Here's
my mom
the,
didn't make it.
here's the challenge, I think, to this is that it's guys, don't think about an elephant. And now there's an elephant in your head. Don't think about the costume disappearing. And then Superman thinks about the costume disappearing. And then he's just out there, no clothes, fighting Brainiac.
Yeah.
And what's he going to do?
Is it a literal emperor has no clothes situation where no one wants to tell him? There's just this angry naked alien just wrestling in the streets. Like,
You know what? We're going to get to that because our audience is fantastic. Morse Code Z says, I swear there was a time in the comics where the cape had a pocket and Clark could compress his entire civilian outfit to fit invisibly in the pocket. That's a hell of a pocket.
That is true. I do. I remember
Okay.
seeing pictures of Superman going like, "I'm going to put my suit in here."
It's like a bag of holding.
I'd forgotten about that, but that is true.
That's
Yeah,
like
it's basically like
yeah.
Wacko's bag, where like you can just fit as much stuff into it as you can.
Okay. Dr. Cthulhu said, I always assumed Superman wore his cape under his civilian clothes, unattached, and wrapped it around him like a cloth diaper.
Yes, this is canon.
Yeah, this is more along the lines of where I am. Just a practical way to comfortably put the cape under
It's
a
like a
slim-fitting
sarong.
suit.
Yeah, he's basically
Yeah.
Gandhi.
Under sarong.
It's functional. It's fashionable. It doesn't get too hot.
Yeah.
I think this is the best solve.
Yeah, no, it's drafty. An honorable mention to Tommy Tucker, who said his suit is a hologram. He's actually naked whenever he's Superman, which,
Maybe.
you know, might work too. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
just ripping off the suit and he's just running around naked.
Makes more sense.
I do kind of like that Emperor has no clothes, and it's like, would you tell Superman if he's like, look at my dope costume, and you're like,
I
Dude.
don't understand how we have more live viewers watching this discussion right now than we did yesterday when the news broke
it's
that this was
Billy. It's
happening.
because people have seen the light. And they're like, oh, there's absolutely zero Superman news happening over the past 48 hours. Let's talk about whether or not his dong's out after he takes his Clark Kent suit off.
Yeah.
That's it. Meb2X has redirected the conversation. You're missing the important questions. Thank you, Meb. How does Superman use the bathroom with two suits on?
That's a good question.
Does he have to take everything off? Can he use a urinal? Can he only use a stall? Thoughts?
This crossed my mind yesterday, and I didn't want to take the show down into the gutter.
Absolutely.
But,
But now we're in the toilet.
But now that we're here and asking these important questions, I also have wondered that.
You know, sometimes when you're in the bathroom, I've heard this tale of men's restrooms. I know in women's restrooms, like you'll be looking to see like under the stalls to see if there's anyone in there, and you're like, this person has taken off their entire clothes, and I don't know why. So I assume that everyone's just like, Clark's in the bathroom again. How can you tell? There's an entire suit on the floor.
Let me tell you the non-creepy way to do that, because you do have to check and see, but it's weird if you're just peeping down and looking at stalls. You look in the mirror. You look at the floor in the mirror, and then you don't have to crouch down and look, but you would still see a crumpled up Superman suit on the floor.
And you hope you don't see a
But-
ghost.
Back to this, I imagine that he has like a button flap fanny, like those old prospector pajamas.
But on the suit and the suit?
But both suits.
Okay.
It just, and
like
it's who buttons it up though?
Well, it's like a fancy lady bodysuit where, like, if you get a bodysuit as a woman, it's got the snaps at the very bottom so that you don't have to take the whole thing off.
But we're only addressing half the equation here.
That's true.
And expound.
Yeah.
How do you...
The front.
How do you do the front? Is it just...
Is it a full flap, like it starts to button here, and then you just do a full, like, and like the flap ends like under the belly button?
Doesn't he just photosynthesize anyways?
Right.
Doesn't he just eat sunlight?
Yeah. Well,
Does he go to the bathroom? Does
Right.
Superman
he does.
poop?
He does love beef bolognese and milk because
Yeah.
he is a weirdo.
And in Man of Steel, he was drinking
very
Budweiser.
Midwest.
And if anybody's
Yeah.
drinking Budweiser knows, it goes through you like water.
Yeah, that guy's gonna have to figure out how to get that suit off and pee.
Yeah.
Billy,
Final thoughts?
Is what we're figuring out here, is Superman the kid that stood at the urinal and like dropped trowel to his ankles instead of just unbuttoning his top of his jeans like a weirdo?
There's always that
It's a
kid.
rough learning curve.
I told you that in confidence, Joe. Always bring it up.
It's getting really uncomfortable in the office, Billy, and nobody said anything.
Full moon every time we turn the corner.
Yeah.
Billy, I've got TMZ on the line trying to find out some secrets about you that I can pass on. Guys, we did our homework.
Serious news now.
Yeah.
In serious news, how does the European Union go to the bathroom? The EU has passed Articles 11 and 13. This is via CNBC.
Nice segue.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Did I do a good one?
You did good.
You got a graphic?
You got a graphic?
Oh, cool. I got sweet. I was so focused on giving them the news that I completely missed that I did good. European parliamentarians have passed a controversial overhaul of copyright law that could force tech giants to install filters that prevent copyright-protected content from being uploaded. Critics say such a law would normalize censorship and restrict internet freedom, preventing users from being able to post content ranging from memes to links to articles from news outlets. Article 11 would grant press publications copyright over the sharing of their content online, meaning they would be able to charge services like Google News for aggregating their stories. Article 13 calls for effective content recognition technology to filter out copyright-protected content. Detractors hold that this part of the law could threaten social media users' abilities to share anything from internet memes to snippets of music and film. We're so screwed in the EU. The EU copyright battle pits media companies and musicians against tech giants over the widespread availability of their content online. Supporters of the law argue that people and companies in the creative industries are being starved of revenues lost to the sharing of their intellectual property on digital platforms. It could particularly impact platforms like Facebook and Google's YouTube, which rely on user-generated content. Google has been accused of lobbying aggressively to prevent the directive from being passed into law.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
a
of
nightmare
course.
for them.
Yeah, let's initial thoughts on this. Let's sort of because.
It's not for me. It's not an A/B situation.
Right.
The truth of the matter is that you do need restrictions that are in place to keep people from uploading entire episodes of television, entire movies, entire music for free. So yes, that's a requirement. You do need those laws. However, I think it's not so much the fact that the laws exist; it's the application of it, much like anything, which is that copyright. And I think we've been very open about this. There are many YouTubers that have been open about this. This isn't just an EU issue in the U.S. or worldwide. There are a lot of media companies in particular that have been very aggressive with copyright. And the way that YouTube in particular works is the onus is not on the company to prove that it is a copyright infraction. It is on the user to prove that it's not, which is a long process, a lengthy process, and ultimately, for a lot of people, is still up to the company that claimed it to concede that it's not. So I think this has the potential to be very troubling, and as an organization that spent now many months preparing a Doctor Who trailer that now potentially could be blocked in the UK, that is a real bummer.
Wait a minute, guys. Do you think this is overreaching? Is there nuance here, or is this sort of like?
I feel the same way because there is the argument about transformative works. At what point to reacting to something is it a new thing, and at what point is it you're just staring at a screen while someone else's work is on there and you're claiming it's reacting. So I do understand that, but also, how many times and maybe this is a real thing, but how many times has someone taken a New York Times story and just screenshot the relevant bits and put it up on their social media?
True.
Without people clicking the link or subscribing to the New York Times? Is that now a thing where, and what does that mean? Does that mean not only does the content get pulled, but then are there going to be, widespread implications where, are they going to blame Twitter for that or do they blame the user? Because that's another thing that's often been a problem where Twitter has said, we're not a publisher, but when you have something that this far reaching, what exactly does that mean? Yeah. And so I don't know. It's really scary, and I think until we start seeing how it's enacted, we're not going to know what the implications of it are, but half of the internet is just recycling other people's shit and making it funnier. It just is. And that goes for memes, that goes for, again, quoting other people's content, that goes for the guys that do, bad lip reading or any of these things. Yeah. So, or people doing reactions, people, doing that thing on YouTube where they're like, well, this person said this about me, and now I'm going to say this about them. And that goes back and forth. And those get lots of clicks and monies for those people.
Like my feud with Logan Paul.
Like your feud with Logan Paul. And so you do wonder, is there a better option where, which is something that people are already doing, where the copyright claimer is saying, oh, you can keep it up, but we're going to put an ad on it and we're going to get the money from it. I don't know.
It's just as good as taking it down, though.
It is, absolutely.
I mean, and this is assuming that this was a legitimate case of fair use, transformative works, comment, criticism. That's what keeps this channel alive, is the capability to. We exist almost entirely around third-party IP, but our job is what we do is we comment, we criticize. We're funny. If we were at a point where they said, well, you can't do that, we're out of business.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And when a company claims a video, right, especially to a smaller user, and says, well, you can keep the video up, but we get the money, that's just as good to them as taking it down. They might get the recognition. Mm-hmm. They might get the fact that they have it out there, but they don't get that money. Mm-mm. And you have to make a living, Right. And it's the same thing with, and even going back to my Twitter example, a lot of times people do take those snippets of, a New York Times article because they're doing commentary on it, and that is part of their job, and they're not necessarily making money on that. But that can also be very useful to people who necessarily, I do understand the New York Times has to make money, gray lady, blah, blah, blah. But it is also important when you have these big overreaching events or these big breaking stories that you are able to have someone who is able to analyze these stories. And so what does that mean?
Spencer,
sorry, I just also wanted to add, there's also Article 12A, which would basically keep you, if you're at a sports game and you see something cool and you catch 12 seconds of it and put it on Instagram, like, I can't believe I was here for that, that is no longer go. Only the sports teams and their affiliated partners can post content from sports.
Is there a concern
can't film reality anymore? Yeah. You can't.
Is there a concern there? I like to go straight to the Illuminati, but that's almost control of information in a way. If you're at an event and the only people that can share media of the event are the people running the event.
It depends. You can't, obviously, I can see, you can't live stream an entire football game.
Sure.
And I meant European football, not American football.
Spelled it with a U.
Football, if you're in Spain. Football. You can't, I can see why they say you can't live stream an entire game from your phone. I understand, but to say, you can't be at a, let's say you're at the
World Cup.
The World Cup. Yeah, I was trying to think of something.
Wimbledon.
Say you're at the Euro Cup finals. Your team is down to their last penalty kick, and you want to film. If you win, you want to film that moment and the reaction. And now they're saying, well, oh, you can't do that. That to me is well, then you're restricting people's. That's a memory.
Yeah, and if the idea is to drive sales, if the idea is these places are losing money. Do you think that the people who already can't afford to do these things are now going to go do these things? They're not. They couldn't afford it before. So sharing it is kind of a cultural language, along with, those things and movie moments that we like and these things. But if someone already couldn't afford to go to Wimbledon, you can block off access to certain arguments or certain whatever moments in the game that you want. Those people are still not going to Wimbledon or buying it or paying for it. So I guess I'm wondering what the end goal is.
Yeah, money.
Is there, Spencer? Is there? Do you think any credence to loose copyright being linked to loss of revenue for artists, for performers, for creators?
I kind of feel two different ways about it, because I do think that you need to chill, bro, when it comes to copyright and music and film and television, because I think that the internet is has caught up in like a post Napster world, has found a way to pay artists. It's obviously not as much, but it's also more wide open access to all these different people that you wouldn't have found out about otherwise. I feel a little differently about journalism and press and stuff like that, in the sense that Facebook and Google have broken it. They've completely decimated like an industry that's like a little more important than entertainment. Like it actually serves a real social function and a real purpose that like I don't think we can function as a society without. And it's like they broke it, they got to fix it. I don't know. I don't think this is the solve, but now entire newsrooms are getting laid off. All these newspapers are shuttering their local coverage.
Or being bought up by people with very clear agendas who have the money to do so.
Yeah, and that's because trillion-dollar companies like Facebook and Google have taken their content, pulled the information that they researched and reported on, extracted what you need to know, and then no one gets paid except for Facebook or Google. So they've broken it. They got to fix it. I don't think this is the way, but I feel differently about journalism than I do about like obviously honest trailers.
No, I mean
those should stay on forever.
I think that's a good point to make. For news, this is a lot more integral. Again, to go back to the New York Times, screen grabbing their stuff and spreading it aggregate, it kills that paper. But I don't think a band if a band starts being able to much more easy. Band's maybe a bad example, but I don't think Spotify is going to pay an artist more because of these things passing.
Sure.
Like the gatekeepers that are sort of in charge of making the call as to how many fractions of a penny you're going to make on a song, like that's not going to change. Like I think that just kind of strengthens their position almost.
I think again it all goes down to when they say effective content recognition technology. First of all, I see why Google lobbied against it, because this is now putting the onus on the company to say like you're liable for this now. Okay, well now if the EU is saying Google's liable for making a content filter, now if something goes up, then all of a sudden Google's liable. What does Google do? They pass that on just so they're going to overreach and go to the user and say you're liable. We don't have time to figure this out, but sorry, talk to them, and then it becomes a thing. It's not that there's nothing like this that exists, but unfortunately, I think history has shown us that if there's a question about something, or even if there's really not a question about something, a lot of these big companies are going to go toward the thing of saying, that's mine. And now you have to spend time, and in a lot of cases money, and lose money to get that back. And that's not fair. That's really not fair, particularly people that make their living like in this industry. This is still a young industry in the sense of like people making a living on YouTube is 10 years old, less than. Those protections don't exist. Some of those avenues don't exist for content makers, and it's going to kill off a lot of them if they're just buried under restrictions and they get demonetized.
It's already extremely hard.
It's already extremely hard. It's twice as hard for a channel owned by a larger company to do business than it was, say, 5 years ago, for a number of reasons. And I think it's 10 times as hard for a small YouTuber or to do business for those same reasons. So
this will definitely not make it easier.
It's not going to make it easier. And again, you're now putting your faith in people to apply this correctly and not overreach, and that unfortunately has often not been a very good proposition for content makers.
Yeah, because the safe thing for them to do is to overreach. So
that's the safest avenue.
Thing for them to do.
Don't take the risk.
Spencer, will honest trailers be forever? You said it.
So,
now me too, man. Me too. Guys, that's the show today.
No.
Wait, what?
Whoa.
No.
We have a very important third segment that must be
Oh.
discussed.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Okay. Story number 3. Mark Wahlberg's schedule. Is this the one? Okay.
We most definitely need to talk about this.
Okay, cool.
Have you seen this, Joe? You seen this? You heard
No,
about
I
this?
ain't seen this.
Why don't you feast your eyes on Mark Wahlberg?
So Mark Wahlberg posted his schedule during an Instagram Q&A. Dan, will you read this in a Mark Wahlberg voice?
Okay, guys, it's time to look at my typical daily schedule. 2:30 a.m. I wake up. 2:45 prayer time. 3:15 breakfast. 3:40 to 5:15 I work out. 5:30 is my post-workout meal. 6 a.m. I shower. 7:30 golf. 8 a.m. snack. 9:30 I'm in the cryo chamber getting recovered. 10:30 it's time for another snack. 11 a.m. it's time for my family time. I got meetings and work calls to make. I have lunch at 1 o'clock. I got more meetings and work calls at 2. Then 3 o'clock I pick the kids up at school. 3:30 p.m. it's time for another snack. 4 o'clock another workout. 5 o'clock another shower. 5:30 dinner and family time, and I'm in bed by 7:30.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
The cryo chamber.
You know what? I didn't see any time for him to work on Wahlburgers during any of
That's
that.
family time.
Yeah.
Because when you're Wahlburgers,
that's
your family.
family time.
Specifically his family. You're a Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Why
time
does
you
the day
enter.
have to? Couldn't everything except for obviously like picking up the kids be shifted by like
5
3
hours?
hours and you
Yeah.
can get up at 5:30 in the
Yeah.
morning?
Like
I'm
a,
very curious when Spencer said this to me this morning. There's an 11 a.m. family time, but he picks up the kids like 2 hours later. So what family is he seeing every day at 11? I'm very...
I assume he's
Maybe
got a
he's
wife
doing,
and a lot of siblings,
yeah.
but
Wife,
do they live
siblings.
together?
I don't know. Do you have everyday sibling
I think
time?
all the
That's kinda
Wahlbergs do
weird.
live together in a house.
Yeah.
I think
Why
that's
is there not a camera
fact.
in the house?
They tried, but nobody cared about their burgers.
That's true. Nobody did care about their burger.
Donnie definitely lives like
In a wing.
in a wing of the house.
There's a lot of confusing things. I don't know how much time we have to go.
We have all the time.
We
you
got
need
plenty
to
of
talk
time.
We'll bring the
about
schedule
this.
back up. So, okay. What's he doing in those 15 minutes between waking up and praying that he has to like pray for forgiveness for? Like he's got 15 minutes to do some shit.
That's snooze time.
Snooze
Yeah,
time.
it's
Okay.
snoozing.
All
Like
right.
hit the button.
Snoozing.
That's snoozing. Prayer time.
He wakes up praying.
So, is he only golfing for 30 minutes or is he
Oh, that's true.
or is he golfing?
I assume
Is
it's
he snacking while golfing? And who needs well, I guess he works out before he golfs, so he needs that cryo chamber.
I assume the golfing is Wii golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only way I assume
I
that
could
you
see
can.
Oh no, I think
Because if he only golfs for 30 minutes, that's a 90-minute snack. That's a really long snack.
I think he's probably got a driving range.
Yeah.
Probably got a driving range. Donnie works there.
Indoor.
Yeah.
He drives the car.
Donnie
picking up
works at the
balls.
driving range. I do want to say his prayer time is longer than like I think all of the active prayer I remember in actual church service.
Is
Like
it-
if you
how long is that
combine
for?
if you
an
combine
hour.
communion and praying for the community and all that, if you just smash it all in, I think he's praying for like a few minutes longer than actually going to church. Which well done, sir. Well
Yeah.
done. Bring it back up, JTE. We're not done with this list.
So family time. Does Jenny McCarthy count as family?
What? Are they related?
They're in-laws, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
She's
gosh.
with Donnie.
Well,
I'm
that's
way
also
behind.
meetings and work calls. So this
Yeah.
is also a time for him to, talk about mile 23 or
Yeah. This is when he
whatever else.
This
is
is when he's
happening
telling
right now.
Jenny to keep it down while he's on the phone for this important business call. It's like, McCarthy, God.
pick up kids at school.
I
I mean, the thing is, when the kids go to high school, I don't know how old they are, but school changes.
Yeah.
School time changes.
Right.
So this whole schedule
this is
gonna
more of a
get
He
summer
gonna
schedule.
get
also
chaos.
is not helping the water crisis by taking a 90-minute shower.
That's true.
Between
It was 90 minutes? Hang on. JTE, bring the schedule back up.
That's a long shower.
That is a long shower.
What else is he doing in there?
Yeah, that's like a
maybe that's
Kid
why he
that
has
just
to
figured
pray
out how
for
his
so
body
long
works
the next
shower.
day.
Post-shower pre-golf prayer time number 2.
first time number 2. Yeah. That's my driver.
So I wonder what his assistant's daily schedule looks like. Is it like 2 a.m., wake up Mark Wahlberg, 2:45 a.m., put down pillow for Mark Wahlberg's prayer time, cook him breakfast, help him work out. Like, this is not a one-man shop.
No, I feel like there are some deliberate, like some of these things we think are too long. He's not going to share all of the secrets
Well,
of being
no.
Wahlberg, because then we
That's
could all
true.
just go
Then
out
we
and
could
be
all go
Marky
full
Mark.
Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Plus, it's it's a little demystifying to be like 5:30 a.m. shower, 5:45 a.m.
Listen to Good Vibrations.
5 minutes of Weather Channel in my underwear.
Candy
whatever.
Crush.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Candy Crush.
Yeah.
there's no pooping time in there anyway.
No.
No, yeah, I
that's
think
why the
it's
shower's
built
so
in.
long.
There's also like really no work. Like this is assuming he has no movies or anything.
Business calls.
Yeah, this is an average day, I think, when he's not shooting.
No,
Plus,
they have
he's
to
got-
work
he's got a
it.
couple
Movies
of
all have to
business.
work it in the cracks in that
Yeah,
schedule.
that's because he does all his press on the phone.
Yeah.
So he's like yelling at Jenny McCarthy to keep it down while he talks to Screen Rant about his next movie.
That would
this is
explain the
insane,
happening,
but-
though. If like
yeah.
they had 2 hours every day to shoot, it was like the toxin's affecting them. I can't do another one. I gotta go.
It's snack time.
I'll see you at 3.
Wake me in the chamber if it's super important.
I really think JT bring it back up. Yeah, that snack. I think once a day, and God bless him for it, because I think he should. Once a day, he dances to Good Vibrations. I think he just cranks that song and just has a good time.
You know what?
And that's his time.
This schedule is very Batman friendly. He could be nighttime vigilante.
That's
and
very
that would
true.
really explain a lot. If like
Unfortunately,
the sun's going down, I'm going to bed.
Unfortunately, he used to be.
Yeah,
was a
that
good
is
joke
true. That is
for
very
one person.
superhero friendly.
Or just shitty vigilante friendly.
Celebrities are insane. This confirms it.
Yes.
Not only the fact that he
How much of this is crystal time?
he either lives like this or he's like, yeah, this is what I do and I'm sharing this in public, like proving that celebrities live in an insane world where no one around them tells them how insane their life is. This is insane. I just thought we should all appreciate it.
No, thank you for bringing this in. I'm sorry I almost skipped it. Thank you guys for writing that wrong.
What's your favorite
rightfully
Wahlberg movie?
What's my favorite Wahlberg movie?
Yeah, your favorite Mark Wahlberg
The
movie.
one in his head about preventing 9/11. I think that's the
True
best
story.
one. Absolutely true story. Mark Wahlberg thought he was. What was it? It was like if I was on that
He
plane,
said
forget
he
about
would
it.
have.
He would
yeah,
have if
would
he were on
have
the plane.
if he were.
There
Yes,
would have been
yes.
a lot of
would have been a lot of.
It would have been over, and then he would have walked out covered in blood, and it was.
No,
insane.
see, I didn't
Yeah.
see Navy SEAL training in there anywhere.
Right. Well, that's part of the
He
snack.
hangs out with Peter Berg a lot, and
That's true.
you know
That's what that'll do to you.
He's
Yeah.
played a Navy SEAL or a likewise.
It's the same thing.
It's the same.
But you know what? Okay, favorite Wahlberg. I like Wahlberg and I Heart Huckabees a lot. I think that's a weird little underrated thing, and I might be wrong in saying that. I don't know. I haven't seen Huckabees in a long time, and I liked Huckabees a lot. At the same time, I liked Garden State, so this is completely not a reliable narrator at this point. But I remember really enjoying that movie.
Got to be Ted, Boogie Nights, obviously.
Boogie Nights.
Pound for pound, though, I think it's The Departed. As far as like line for line, it's like I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy. Like there's so many great lines
Yeah.
that he gets
Yeah.
that he has.
Mine is Rockstar. I will not apologize.
Yeah.
Well said, Dan. Nor should you.
That part at the end where he's wearing the Kurt Cobain sweater and singing in a cafe in Seattle. Mwah. Beautiful.
Buddy, what's your favorite? What's your Wahlberg choices? Boogie Nights?
Yeah, it's when he's playing kind of a dummy, but he's like a genius at that. I think he is. I like him better when he's kind of like just like a simple dude from Boston. I think that just fits.
Yeah, it works. It works a lot more than being an inventor that invents things with robots. Guys, that's our show. Superman's peeing. We don't know if Mark Wahlberg is peeing according to his schedule. European.
Nice. Tied it all
Union.
together.
Guys, a lot of cool stuff for you to watch. Charting with Dan earlier in the week. Make sure you check it out. The Honest trailer this week was a good one, and I think it was Predator.
Predator.
Yes.
That's correct.
All my days bleed together now because of Doctor Who, which is also coming soonish, I guess.
We're gonna
Soonish,
announce a date.
laterish.
I think we're gonna announce a date soon.
Yeah. But what are dates really? What is time?
Timey-wimey.
Yeah, flippy
Wibbly-wobbly.
flobby. Yeah.
It's a fixed. We're gonna announce a fixed point in time, but
That
just
you-
like the show, we'll just toss that out.
JTE, if you yawn one more fucking time, I swear to God.
It's becoming passive aggressive. You took Dayquil. That's not what Dayquil does.
doesn't make you
JTE.
drowsy.
It doesn't make you
That's
drowsy.
the other thing.
Neither does the Ford F-150. It's the most exhilarating car on the streets.
Did you take the green one or the orange one, JTE? This is a very important question. It was purple.
That's NyQuil.
Oh no! Was
Oh,
it in a
JTE.
styrofoam cup? Because then it's a whole other thing.
Oh no, he's turned.
He's turned.
God. He's turned.
Chopped and screwed.
You guys know what will maintain JTE's attention for upwards of 90 minutes? Today's movie fights.
Yeah.
It's all DC.
All in slow motion.
All in slow motion, all through a filter. Clark Wolf, Dan Casey, Ace Cabrera.
Styrofoam cups. It's gonna be great.
It's going to be an
Sprite.
awesome
Right.
fight.
Jolly Rancher at the bottom.
It's going to be turned down for what? We'll find out today at 4 on Screen Junkies Main. Bye, guys.